and applying big data analysis method. This study will attempt to identify Indonesian public sentiment and emotions towards the implementation of large-scale social restrictions in that country. Actually, there are several studies have examined public response toward the government rules concerning COVID-19. But both studies that have been done in Indonesia were only performed on specific platforms, and it cannot be a justification for a larger population. So through this study, we will use a sentiment analysis and big data analysis approach to study over than 500 online news, as well as to retrieve the data from social media such as Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Next. This is the objective of the study, is to explore public sentiment and emotions toward the LSSR and identify issues, fear, and reluctance to observe the restriction order in Indonesia. Next slide, please. The overall of this study implemented big data analysis approach with supervised machine learning to mine COVID-19 related news in more than 500 online news that are recognized by Indonesian Press Council, and as well as to retrieve social media data from 4 platforms, which are Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So there we can see that we apply per application to retrieve the data from online news, as well as we apply the API for each Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The overall process of data mining was data gathering, and then data pre-processing and feature selections, and then algorithm selection and training. At data gathering phase, we decided to choose 2 specific keywords to describe our search profile, which are PSBB and pembatasan sosial berskala besar in Indonesia. These keywords were deemed sufficient to capture public interest in LSSR, as there are no other synonyms in either Bahasa Indonesia or English that refer specifically to the government implemented restrictions. Like in Malaysia, we have actually movement control order, but in Indonesia, we don't have a specific term in English to describe what PSBB is. So in the next step is data pre-processing, which included some steps like that duplicate text filtering. In this phase, all the application in all retrieve data were excluded, such as retweet and the other kind of application. The next step is text normalization, like we remove all the symbols, the URLs, the stop words to normalize or before we tokenize the data. After that, there is case folding. Case folding was done to standardize all the writing, in which all texts are standardized to lowercase to make it easier for the system to retrieve the information more effectively. After that, we choose feature part of speech tagging as our feature to identify that only verbs, nouns, adjectives, and adverbs that will be tokenized and tagged by post tagger, as those words are considered important to indicate the objectivities and opinions. Further, we use Indonesian language dictionary as our main corpus. Previously, there are some studies which use standardized annotated corpus by hidden Makarov model or maximum entropy, but in this case we have no standardized version for Indonesia language, so that's why we choose to use Kamus Besar Bahasa Indonesia as our reference to define the words. And the last process of the data mining was to identify the algorithm, which algorithm we would like to use to classify the sentiment. The sentiment itself was divided into 3 categories, which are negative, positive, negative, and neutral. And in this study, we chose the naive Bayes classifier as our machine learning algorithm, as this kind of algorithm is commonly utilized for text classification based and probabilistic calculations to predict future possibilities by looking at patterns. Actually, there are other kind of algorithm that we can use, such as logistic regression, for example. But this approach or this algorithm has been proven more effective and more precise in defining sentiment category, especially when it comes about COVID-19 sentiment categories. So yes, the equation is in the screen. Next. After mining all the data, the study managed to retrieve a data. The amount of data were retrieved was 1.9 million, about 1.9 million data were retrieved from all platforms, which Twitter was leading as the platform which the most data retrieved, with 1.4 million data, or in percentage, it is about 73.9%. Next. All right. So according to the previous result, we can say that Twitter is actually a platform that is enough to describe the overall sentiment and emotion toward the LSSR on social media. All right. To identify what are the most popular topics that has been discussed by the Indonesian public, we do a topic mapping, and these are the results, or this is the result of topic mapping that we have performed, which found that the most frequently discussed topics by Indonesian public in all social media platforms are related to LSSR in Indonesia, and also the new normal and the impact of LSSR on the economic sector. The high level of conversation regarding the relaxation of LSSR in online media represents the amplification of various responses from the public and media towards the government's swift plan to implement the new norms. In addition, we also do a news scrolling that found a number of LSSR related news are quite political. Many assume that LSSR relaxation in Indonesia was not based on careful consideration, but was implemented to reduce the economic burden on government. The term political crisis was used to describe what will happen if the government did not take any immediate action to ease the economic burden of its society.
Okay, and you have another 3 minutes left, yeah?
Right, next. This is the most retweeted tweets, and most of them are related to and most of them are actually referring to 2 kind of parties, which is the government that is considered indecisive to implement LSSR, and those among the public who enjoy the LSSR relaxation by going out freely. So we can see the public anger according to the tweet and the sentiment. So next, the next slide. This is the main finding, which is the sentiment analysis. Next. So this is the finding of the sentiment analysis, and it suggests that the positive category or the positive sentiment surpasses the other kind of sentiment, with 1 million data suggests that the public sentiment is likely to be positive rather than neutral or negative. But we can also see that the negative response or the negative sentiment is also high at the time when we actually need 100% support from the public. This data suggests that although society in general viewed the government's LSSR supported implementation of relaxation as decisive, the majority of the public still supported and regarded LSSR as the best solution to break the chain of COVID-19 transmission in the country. And at the same time, the negative sentiment on LSSR can be considered very high. And of course, if it is not a good indicator for the government performance, moreover in the time of health crisis. And the graphic below represents about the most discussed issue. And yeah, pretty much about the resentment, the negative opinion regarding public non-compliance regarding implementation of LSSR policy in Indonesia. Next. This is a trend on May 17. They refer to skepticism toward the government's implementation of the LSSR. Some parties were disappointed with the government's decision to relax the LSSR, while the positive cases of COVID-19 in Indonesia were still on high rise. Right, next. The second analysis is motion analysis, and we apply Platchik conception of emotion. There are 8 kind of emotion here, which are joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, and anticipation. Next. The overall motion analysis suggests that most of Indonesian public are still in trust with the policy, or in other words, we can say that most of public still believe that LSSR as the best method in curbing the spread of the pandemic, despite of the negative sentiments that have been occurred before. Next. This is the discussion circulation, and we can see that the peak, there are 2 notable peaks identified, which are on April 11 and then May 14. And then on that 2 dates, the number of deaths continued to suppress the total recovered case. So that's why the fear of public were identified to hit the peak at that time. Right, next. Conclusion, public sentiment towards the LSSR appeared to be positive despite of doubts to the government consistency in executing LSSR. The emotion analysis also conclude that the majority of people believe in large-scale social restrictions as the best method to break the chain of the pandemic. And overall, Indonesians showed trust and expressed hope towards the government ability to manage this current global health crisis and win against COVID-19. As for the research implication, the result of this study may assist policymakers in being active observers of public responses in online media, especially on social media. Public communications by the government in this new media era must transform from being mere publicity to observing and analyzing public sentiment. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And give it back to the panel.
All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Andy. Such an interesting findings, and it is also current research on sentiment analysis on COVID-19, especially in Indonesia, focusing in Indonesia. Okay. So let's move on to our second presenter. I would like to invite Sharifah Sophia first. is it okay because you are going to present live, you're going to do live presentation, and then we finish the live presentation followed by the video presentation. Is that okay? Okay.
Sure, Prof. No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Over to you.
All right. Let me share.
Okay. Meantime, your paper, your title will be the effect of dating application Tinder on communication and interpersonal relationship among university students. Okay,
Yes,
this one written by you yourself, Sharifah Sophia Said Zainuddin, Jian Shao Wu, and Saiful Mujaimi Abdul Rahman. Okay, please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. Thank you very much to Professor Norma Mustafa and also to our MC and all fellow participants. I hope all of you have a good day today. So I'm going to continue with the presentation on my topic. Let me share the screen first. Okay. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to present the research entitled "The Effect of Dating Application Tinder on Communication and Interpersonal Relationship Among University Students." Okay, let me make it all right. Okay. So before that, I'm Sharifah Sophia Said Zainuddin, and with my student Wu Jiasho and Saiful Nujaimi Abdul Rahman. Okay, we are from Department of Communication, Faculty of Modern Languages and Communication UPM. Okay, this research has been conducted last year, okay, in 2020. All right, before we go further, I would like to read here, okay. Roses are red, violets are blue. If you are looking for love, then the internet must be the right place for you. So that's why this focus on the dating application, okay. Basically, this research has been conducted, okay, among undergraduate students in UPM. I don't think, I believe that many don't know about this application because at our age, my age, I mean, 30 and above, yeah, we don't really use this kind of application to find someone. It depends because basically this application evolved with the advancement of the technology, where people communicate online, start to date online. Okay, when we move from physical face-to-face communication to online communication. So basically, when I did this research, I'm quite surprised. Okay? There's a lot actually. We have a 10 list here. The popular dating application in Malaysia. Used by the teenagers especially, and also university students. So here, number one, Tinder. That's why this study focused on Tinder application. And then we have Tantan, okay, we have dating.com, Blue, Omi, okay, and so on, okay, listed here, okay. And this very popular among students and also teenagers. It is not just Malaysia that's been struck by the cybercupid, where people looking for a match, okay, looking for a partner online, okay. Globally, romance seekers spent over 9 billion on online dating apps in 2019. All right, so it's not only in Malaysia, but also our neighbors like Singapore and in Indonesia. They have been spending heavily in search for love online, and then splashing about 29 million and 24 million on dating application respectively. Okay, so that's basically this research, the idea of the research coming. I want to understand. Okay, so before we go, we move further to the discussion. I would like to explain what is a Tinder application actually. So basically, the founded back in 2012. Okay, it's a long time ago, but it's still maintained until now and become top 10, number first in Malaysia. Tinder is a dating application site that match singles in your area and around the world virtually. So basically, it's not only Malaysia, but you can find partner from international, from outside Malaysia. Okay, in your area, you can find in your area, also around the world virtually. Yeah, because we moved to visual communication nowadays. Okay, it was one of the earliest mobile dating application. Okay, Tinder is an online dating application famous for its swipe. Okay, you can swipe and match feature when you put the picture, and then you can swipe and find people with the same interest. Okay, anyone can sign up for free. Okay, the popularity of this application due to the free subscription. Anyone can have as long as you have Android or iPhone. Okay, so you can download this application free. Maybe you can upload this Tinder after this, yeah, after this presentation, if you're looking for a partner or friends. Okay. Okay, so is this Tinder also offer a subscription based on premium features. Okay, if you want to have extra features, you need to subscribe. Of course, they will ask you to subscribe and pay annually for more advanced application in the Tinder. So how basically Tinder works? Okay, Tinder is a free dating app that can be downloaded. Okay, in your phone, in your desktop, in your tablet. So the application have communities mostly among 18. Before this, the company allowed people under 15, but because of some issues, okay, some misuse, okay, sometimes because they are not matured, okay, teenagers too young, yeah, sometimes they overuse this by uploaded inappropriate pictures. Okay, so then the company stop again, and nowadays the members or communities only for people who age 18 and above, otherwise you cannot use it. Okay, so to join the Tinder dating apps, you must have Facebook account. Basically, you need to have Facebook account because it link together. Yeah, so it link information based on your Facebook profile and including photo, date of birth, and also your sex. And once your profile is set up, when you set up, okay, Tinder will then provide you with a list of relevant matches based on your profile. So basically, when you have the Tinder, it's work together with the Facebook, okay? Because in Facebook, you already have your location, okay, and then your interest there, yeah, your pictures. So all these help, yeah, to match friends on Tinder apps. So you can just swipe, okay, to match, okay, and then use all the tools in the apps to help you to find the right match. Okay. Why Tinder is so popular? Because the application currently around 10 million daily users. Okay, many, until now in 2021, okay, it's about 10 million users using Tinder application on phone and also on PC. Okay, it's becoming very popular with teen, especially. That's why I asked you. Okay, I think that this is maybe you're not really familiar with this app because it has been used by users who age among teenagers, yeah, and university student. So this dating app, which is free to download, really easy to use and very little effort required to set up the profile. So users simply swipe through the image to view potential matches, and in one click, okay, they can indicate anonymously whether they are interested or another user with another user. Yeah, so basically how it works, very easy. So Tinder have become a verb among mobile apps. So for people for searching, basically they use the word Tindering. Okay, like look, how you where you tendering, who you tendering today, like searching, the word searching replacing by the word tendering. So looking for dates among the users and of the application near the location, near your current location. Okay, so the background of the study, because the popularity of the internet and the smartphone, okay, as well as the real-time location-based dating apps such as Tinder, it changed the traditional ways of socializing between people, especially during the pandemic time, yeah, where people cannot go anywhere. University students stuck at home doing fully online, doing online class fully, and then of course, because in the meantime, for example, they're looking for friends to be socialized. Okay, that's why this dating Tinder app becomes so popular during 2019 until now. Yeah, because people use it as a platform to be socialized online. So dating apps Tinder enable new way of meeting and developing potential romantic partners. According to Sterling 2016, the online dating application has gone through a big transition in the recent years, with the increase in the mobile device usage, of course, because everything in our smartphone right now, you can just upload it, just download the apps that you can use. Okay, and according to Tinder 2016, Tinder was first spread to University of Southern California students, which is around 2012. And since then, Tinder has become a global appearance, yeah, for dating application, and also for the romantic relationship. Okay, nowadays, Tinder has become a popular dating platform to make friends and establish interpersonal relationship. So why students? Yes, students and dating apps, because the study shows that, okay, university students contribute to a large number of users of Tinder, Yeah, not only Malaysia but also in our neighbors country like Indonesia and Singapore. Okay, and also in US. Okay, who look basically students, they use Tinder they use Tinder for looking for partners, love, and intimate relationship online. So in fact, university students were at the age where they are ready to establish like personal, intimate, and long-term relationship, interpersonal relationship. Yeah, that's why they use this application. This study can contribute towards, basically this study has been conducted because to contribute towards the understanding of the usage of dating application for communication and interpersonal relationship among university students in Malaysia, particularly in in UPM. So this is the general objective of the study is to explore the effect of dating application Tinder on communication and interpersonal relationship among university students, particularly in UPM. The research we have three research objectives here. Okay, first is to identify the use of dating Tinder for communication among UPM students. And then to examine the use of dating apps Tinder to interpersonal relationship among UPM students, and to identify the relationship between Tinder apps usage with communication and interpersonal relationship among UPM students. So to see the relationship between the apps, the communication, and interpersonal relationship development using the apps. Okay, so the methodology, the study adopt a quantitative approach, okay, using the survey. And then the survey questioning consists of 4 parts, okay, asking about the demographic background, the usage of dating apps Tinder, the use of dating, and then looking that on the relationship between Tinder apps usage and student communication and interpersonal relationship. Okay, sampling for the study. The study used purposive sampling, yeah, because participants so when I use purposive sampling, participants were selected based on the predetermined criteria. Why I use purposive sampling? Because not all students use this application. So in order to answer the research question and achieve the objective of the study, I use purposive sampling. Okay, so so the criteria is the student must be users of the application. Okay, use the application at least 1 to 6 months or longer than that, and then actively use the Tinder apps for interpersonal relationship purposes. So based on the specific criteria, only 100 student was selected for the sample of the study. The analysis use SPSS, okay, and then descriptive and inferential statistic were employed, such as frequency, percentage, mean, and also the standard deviation to see, and then yeah, also as well as correlation to see the relationship. Yeah. So basically, I use the uncertainty reduction theory to and this theory, the variable of the theory was adapted in the survey question. Okay, the study because this theory helped, okay, to explain the effect of uncertainty of strangers in Tinder application and communication. So the URT studied the initial communication skill of people in dating apps. Okay, so basically, for example, during the interaction, okay, people need information about the other party to reduce the uncertainty when they communicate online. Okay, in obtaining this information, people are able to predict the behavior of the other person, and then resulting the behavior, all of which, according to this theory, are crucial in the development of any relationship. So this is the picture here for explaining the theory. Okay, here we have the in the process of using the Tinder. Basically, they will fill in some personal information, yeah, because they want to find a partner. So they use they send the personal information like living habits, family background, and so on to help to match, yeah, according to the guidance of the Tinder. Okay, then by matching the personal information with similar information, Tinder will increase factors such as similarity and likability between members of the opposite sex in the application. That's why it helps you when you put all the information, and then you can match with the person with same interests, yeah, same hobbies. And then this factor may affect UPM student communication and interpersonal relationship. So based on the theory. So this is the findings, okay. So for demographic, yeah, the demographic finding shows that majority of the respondents are female, yeah, and while there are only 35% male. So yeah, we can predict this, yeah, because mostly when we talk about students, undergraduate students, most of the students are female, And then, of course, many females, because sometimes research show that female students are more socialized than male when it comes to partners looking for love, okay? And then this shows that female students aged between 21 to 26 years old are the highest users of Tinder application, yeah? And the majority of female users are Malay students, okay, 70%, and the third and fourth year students. So maybe, I think this can relate when they are in the final year, third year, fourth year, they feel like ready to find someone, to find partner, yeah? Because some of them are really looking for the serious relationship towards the end of their semester, for example, because they are moving from the phase like students study year to working year, and then they're looking for partner. So that's the explanation for the years of study there. And then for the communication purposes, students are very familiar with Tinder dating. Yes, because I'm using purposive sampling just now. Of course, most of the students already familiar with the application and mostly use the application for 3 to 5 hours in a day. Well, it's quite long as compared, because we have we have a different social media platform, but the responding here, they're willing to spend 3 to 5 hours on Tinder. I mean, looking for partners, okay, put personal information, pictures to match with the potential partners. Yeah, majority of the students use Tinder application for communication purposes, 70%. Okay, and developing intimate relationship. So basically, when of course, when they use this application for communication, they send information, exchange information. Okay, because the application is really interactive. Okay, they can share and exchange information like hobbies, personal background, okay, and also picture. So in terms of the objective 3, the correlation analysis, table 1 indicates that there are positive relationship between the use of dating application Tinder and student communication. It's quite high, and interpersonal relationship, okay, which are 0.74. So meaning that, okay, the use of online dating applications such as Tinder has changed the role of face-to-face communication. Yeah, and interpersonal relationship among UPM students. Students prefer to stay longer on dating application and looking for romantic partners. Yeah, because they're willing to spend 3 to 5 hours. The Tinder application, the Tinder dating application enables two opposite sex to mix by matching similar profile and encourage social interaction between them through liking and comment. Yeah, because like I said, that this application is really interactive. They allow comment, sharing, exchange. Okay, and then in addition to this, because I use uncertainty reduction theory, so aims to study the initial look at the initial communication skill of people in dating apps. Okay, so here the findings show that the URT it successfully explained the effect of uncertainty of strangers in Tinder apps communication. So basically, they start with the strangers, they share the all the personal information, and then match to the other group with familiar hobby, interest, and then they link and match the members. Okay, so based on the correlation finding just now, we can see that there's correlation between the Tinder application use and student communication and interpersonal relationship online, meaning that the more students use the Tinder application, the more students can communicate with friends and develop intimate relationship with opposite gender. Okay, this is because the dating application enables students to match their basic personal information, okay, with other users through the system, such as sharing similar characteristics and hobby. The Tinder dating apps enable students to reduce uncertainty by getting along with other users and developing interpersonal relationship based on common topics and similarities. Yeah, and then therefore the findings show that the Tinder dating application has significantly affected UPM students' communication and interpersonal relationship. So move to the implication for the research. Overall, the study aims not only to fill the gap in interpersonal communication, but also to make a significant contribution to the research in relationship development online. Finally, the finding of the study may be useful for understanding the use of dating application to other users on other dating application. We have a lot. which have certain similarities to the context of the study, such as Malaysian Cupid. Okay, this is another website. Maybe you can apply. Okay, even the research, the survey question can change in terms of the wording to mix to replicate in other studies. We have others platform like Malaysian Cupid, Mingle, Muslima, Badoo, and Bumble. Okay, thus this study is important to highlight the rise of various dating application usage, particularly among university students in Malaysia. Right, for the conclusion, Tinder application has gradually changed the way UPM students communicate in their everyday life. Yeah. So basically, before this, they get to know each other face to face. Yeah. Maybe they they mix around. Okay, in the class. Okay, or in the cafeteria. But because of the COVID-19, okay, we can see the change in the way students communicate online, from face to face to online. This study demonstrates that the use of Tinder application was able to reduce the feeling of loneliness among students by expanding their social circle. So basically, when they use the Tinder application, they can get to know people not only in UPM, but also from other university and also from around the world. Yeah. And then students have the fastest learning ability for new things. Of course, because they are teenagers, they are really technology savvy, and then of course they easy to adopt and use new technology, and we can see that latest scientific and this help them into using the latest scientific and cultural knowledge. Therefore, Tinder dating apps are gradually influencing the communication among UPM students and playing an increasingly important role in the formation of their interpersonal relationship. Yeah, so yeah, that's all for me. Is it within the time or early?
Yeah, should be okay. Thank you, Dr. Sophia. Yeah? Okay,
Right.
I believe that this is also the current problem or the current issues that we are trying to tackle, because due to the online, I mean, so many dating application online. Okay, so it is interesting. Thank you, Dr. Sophia. Okay, now
Thank you very much.
okay, I was told that there is one presenter from other session, which is Dr. Arandas, who will present here with us. Let me see. Dr. Arandas, are you here?
Yes, Doctor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, you are going to present first because you are going to give a live presentation. Okay, I reserve those video towards the end. Okay. So
okay, sure.
your topic will be slanted framing of news stories of Palestinian presidents by New Straits Times. Okay.
Yes, true.
I believe that this one is a research paper from I mean a few colleagues here. You yourself, Mama Arandas, Arabi ID, Yo Ling, Champenki, Emma Muhammad, and Al Salman. Okay, so without any further ado, over to you, Dr. Arandas.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Norma. Let me share the screen first. You can see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So good afternoon, Associate Professor Dr. Norma, distinguished presenters, and all the audience here. So the topic will be slanted framing of news stories of Palestinian presidents by New Straits Times. So as Dr. Norma introduced now, the authors will be Prof. Said Arabi Edid, Dr. Loh Yukling from OPSI, Dr. Chan Venki, and Dr. Emma Muhammad, and Dr. Ali Salman. I'll start with the introduction of this topic. Actually, most of the presidents and politicians around the world, they receive coverage, and sometimes this coverage is really huge from both local and foreign media. So even foreign media try to cover about those politicians or presidents if they have some international influence. And if those politicians or presidents are related to hot issues around the globe, like conflict issues or very powerful political power around this world. And this coverage might be positive or negative. It depends about the media outlets that cover this news. And this comes due to the framing of the news stories and the sources of these stories. So two things affect the coverage. Number one is the framing of the news, and number two, the source of this news. Actually, mass media allows the geography displaced people to know about other ethnics or other neighborhood or other countries around the world. So mostly we retrieve our information about other people or other countries through the mass media, which has an influence on our even opinion later on. Usually among the mass media here, we have with the traditional media or new media, but our focus was on one of the traditional media, which was the newspapers. Those newspapers can provide a forum for debate and opinion, even influence the public policy of any country and make recommendations or advice, then set the agenda through identifying the newsworthy subjects and issue. So we understand that when any media outlet specifies some issues while ignoring others, this is due to agenda setting of this media outlet. The coverage of any newspaper actually has influence on the image of political leaders. So not only has influence on the public and their perception, but also it has influence on the political leaders. This comes indirectly through its influence on the public themselves. So framing the news is stressing on some aspect and specific ideas by making them more salient while ignoring others. Usually after we go through setting the agenda and choosing the topics to be covered. So for example, here we have our topic about Palestinian presidents. Then the media can start to focus on some aspects of this, argument or discussion, then ignore others. And this is actually depend on the agenda of this media and even the policymakers and ownership of any media outlet. The process mostly aim to influence the discussion of public. This is one of their main actually intention here, to influence the audience and to affect their thought, perception, and understanding about the discussed issues. So we go more specific from the framing. We didn't study framing in general, but we focused more on slant or tone. The slant or tone here gives more favorable coverage to one side over the other side. The objective of this study actually examines how Malaysian media, and to be more specific, New Straits Times, has covered the stories on Palestinian presidents. Actually, within this time period, we have two presidents, namely President Yasser Arafat, the first Palestinian president, followed by the second Palestinian president, who is Mahmoud Abbas. And this study used the framing theory by focusing on the slant of stories in an ST about those Palestinian presidents. The methodology used here, actually, we use content analysis, and total of 531 news stories of daily issues of New Straits Times paper has been covered within this time. And actually, we get each full single news story served as the unit of analysis. The time frame was from 1996 until 2016, which is 21 years. Actually, choosing this time frame was due some reasons. Actually, 1996 was the first Palestinian general elections until the death of President Arafat in 2004, then followed from 2005 by having President Abbas until 2016, when we have decline of coverage. We have only 2 stories. And as I mentioned earlier, we have covered each single days, and we didn't skip any day while we collected our data. So it was a big effort, actually. The instrument for the data collection was the coding sheet. Then we implemented face validity in this study. And regarding the reliability, we have intercoder reliability based on Holstein formula, which was 0.86. The results here. Actually, we had 4 types of slants: neutral, positive, negative, and balanced. Actually, positive in news slants here focused on the praise, approval, flattery, or affirmative qualities, while negative in news slants focused on disregard or disapproval or even accusation, while balanced in news slant carries more both positive and negative. Finally, neutral did not have any like positive, negative, or neutral. So in total, we have 531 news stories. As we can see, in neutral news stories covered almost 60%, followed by positive stories, almost 1 out of 5, then negative stories by 11%, and finally balanced stories by 7.7. Here we have a comparison between the 2 presidents. Actually, as we can see that President Arafat has less actually in neutral stories than President Abbas. But if we compare about positive stories, we can see that President Arafat has slightly more positive stories than President Abbas, which was 21.4 for President Arafat, comparing to 19.2 for President Abbas. Then regarding negative stories, we can see President Arafat has less negative stories, which was 11.3 comparing to 12.2 for President Abbas. From this, we can understand that Malaysian media, or specifically NST, favored President Arafat rather than President Abbas. Finally, within this time period, we can see that the news stories for President Arafat was much more than President Abbas. So we had 364 news stories for President Arafat, comparing to only 167 news stories for President Abbas. This is another actually indicator here that shows us that the favoritism towards President Arafat. Here, the discussion part actually is framing influenced the perception of public and at the same time the image of politician, and it is considered as core of any public figure. That's why actually politicians in general, they care much about their image, and they're supposed to be more considerable for the media coverage itself. Actually, here media framing is of a specific issue, develop even the public opinion among the public, not only influence their perception, but it tries to develop their actually public opinion. And in many countries around the world, we can find that the necessary resources for the media could be provided by the government of that country, or even sometimes by political parties of that countries. Then the media is requested somehow to have sympathetic coverage with those media providers. In our case, we have New Straits Times, and choosing the New Straits Times actually was for specific reasons. since New Straits Times actually owned by UMNO, the ruling party during the time frame of our study, which reflect here the perception of this political party, UMNO, and at the same time, the Malaysian government. Actually, the coverage of this MST asserted on specific parts of the stories about Palestinian residents, especially they try to show the positive image of Palestinian residents and somehow ignored the other parts that it has negative slants. This coverage might reflect those Malaysian government and their political parties, and at the same time reflect the good bilateral relations between the two countries and the support for Palestinians by Malaysian government over the time. Also applying this study in Malaysia, which was across the Palestinian geographic border with different cultural context here, expand the scope of public for those Palestinian residents and might affect their global image positively. This is as what has been discussed by other scholars before. So this is also another part of the contribution for this study. That's all for me. Thank you very much for your listening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Randas. It seems that your finding shows that Malaysian media, especially News Straits Times, frame more positive news on President Arafat as compared to President Abbas. Okay.
Yes, true.
That is from one. I believe that is from one newspaper.
Yeah.
But if you compare with others, it could be different findings. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Randas.
Thank you very much.
Just a little gentle reminder: if you have any question, please jot down your question in the chat box. Okay, so that we can answer it towards the end of this session. All right. So let's move on to our video presentation by let me see. Nurul Huda Muhammad Nur, Saifullah Muhammad, Salifu Abdul Aziz, and Nur Baiduri Ruslan from International Islamic University, Malaysia, with the title Factors Influencing Continuous Intention to Use Food Delivery Application Among Malaysian Youth During COVID-19 Pandemic. Okay, Technica, please show the video. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Huda. Today I am presenting a topic on factors influencing the continuous intention to use food delivery applications among Malaysian youth during COVID-19 pandemic. Introduction. The advancement of technology has benefited food and beverages service industry. The emergence of food delivery applications (FDA) has changed urban people's lifestyle towards food services by allowing users to order food remotely and get the food served at them at their convenience. Following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, users' usage of online food delivery service has constantly increased, perhaps due to the immobility attributed to the adherence towards the Standard Operation System (SOP) implemented by the Malaysian government. Problem statement. Food delivery applications are challenged with sustainability issues regarding their ability to serve the needs and meet the expectations of their consumers, and to boost its competitive edge over one another. The objectives of this study are as follows. First, to assess the level of usage patterns, performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, trust, altruism, and continuous intention to use food delivery applications among respondents. Second, to identify the relationship between usage pattern, performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, trust, altruism, and continuous intention to use food delivery applications among respondents. Third, to determine the strongest predictor of continuous intention to use food delivery applications. Literature review. The Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology is an amalgamation model that examines users' intention to use an information technology. The four keys in UTAUT are known as performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitation conditions, which are the direct determinants of behavioral intention and use of a technology. Firstly, performance expectancy refers to users' belief that using a particular system would enhance his or her job performance. Second, effort expectancy refers to users' belief that using a particular system would be free from efforts. Third, social influence. UTAUT's model posits that users are typically convinced by families, friends, and colleagues to use a technology. In terms of trust, trust appears as facilitating conditions that refers to credibility and reliability of a technology to provide the requisite service. Usage pattern refers to users' habit and trend in ordering food via FDAs in terms of time, type of food, and environment. And the last one is altruism. It refers to humans' desire to help others at the expense of oneself. This is the conceptual framework for the study where usage pattern, performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, trust, and altruism have an impact on continuous intention to use food delivery applications. Research methodology. This study employed a quantitative research design. In terms of research instrument, this study used a survey questionnaire which is adopted and self-administered. In terms of population and sampling, this study employed simple random sampling. Survey questionnaire was distributed to use on social media via Facebook, WhatsApp, and Telegram. For this study, 153 respondents were obtained. For research procedures, respondent selection were based on certain sample characteristics, which is the respondent must have experience in using food delivery applications and must age between 50 to 40 years old. Data was analyzed using SPSS. In total, 157 youth participated in the study, consisting of 103 females and 50 males. The majority of the respondents were aged between 50 to 30 years old, college graduates, and employed, with salaries below RM 4,000 per month. In terms of food delivery application usage information, most of the respondents use food delivery application at least once in a week, with a minimum spend of RM40 and below per order. Apart from that, the results indicate that Foodpanda was the most popular food delivery application, followed by GrabFood and other food delivery applications. Results for one sample t-test. The youth reported high levels of performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, trust, and continuous intention to use, with the minimum and maximum mean values of 4.03 and 4.21, respective p less than 0.05. Results for correlation. Zero-order correlation were performed. The existence of positive and significant relationship among all the tested variables suggests that young people use FDAs because the technology has offered them with performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and trust. For usage pattern, the result yielded a moderate relationship with continuous intention to use FDAs. This means that users were likely to apply coupon and discount code when making order via FDAs. This implies that such price-saving mechanism, coupon and discount code are the essential motivators to encourage users' intention on using food delivery applications. For performance expectancy, the results show a moderate relationship with continuous intention to use FDAs. It implies that users regarded FDAs as a useful technology that provides convenience and efficiency by saving users time and effort in ordering and receiving food. For effort expectancy, the result observed a strong relationship with continuous intention to use FDAs. The result implies that users continuously use FDAs because the technology is easy to use, user-friendly, and providing clear and
Thank you.
understandable application system. For social influence, the result yielded a strong relationship with continuous intention to use FDAs, whereby users reported they were influenced and recommended to use FDA by important people such as peers, close friends, and family. In addition, their decision to adopt a technology was made faster and easier because they have strong reference to support their decision. A strong relationship was also found between trust and continuous intention to use FDAs, whereby users regard the FDA system as secure to order and receive food, trustworthy for payment mechanism, as well as providing reliable information. In addition, users also believe that FDAs always give a high quality service by prioritizing customers' interests. Therefore, enhancing security system and improving good service on FDAs will help FDA service providers to retain users' loyalty and intention to use FDAs. For altruism, the results showed a moderate relationship with continuous intention to use FDAs. This finding implied that users who reported using FDAs were motivated by the sense to help others in the FDA business, such as the riders to earn money and restaurant owners to survive their business during the challenging time of COVID-19 breakout. Results for stepwise multiple regression. This analysis determined the strongest predictor of continuous intention to use food delivery applications. Overall, usage pattern, social influence, trust, and altruism were the significant predictors of the dependent variables. Based on Model 4, trust emerged as the strongest predictor of continuous intention to use FDAs with the highest beta value. Model 4 explains 77.5% of the variance, and the variables in the model are significant predictors of continuous intention to use food delivery applications. This study result imply that all the variables in the model were fits for the data, where trust was the strongest predictor that contributed the most to the continuous intention to use FDA. Therefore, in conclusion, this study's finding is mostly consistent with the previous study that adopted unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, confirming that this theory is a dependable model for explaining users' intention and usage of technology. Social influence, trust, and altruism emerge as the predictors of continuous intention to use food delivery applications, implying that continuous intention to use FDAs is greatly influenced by important people, sense of helping others, security, reliability, and trustworthiness of FDA system. This study confirmed that social influence and trust are more influential in explaining unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, especially in the context of continuous intention to use food delivery applications in Malaysia. That's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Stop this. Okay, thank you, Nurhuda. I believe that you are here. Is that Nurhuda here?
Yes, I hear you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to our last video from Shalini Chandrasekaran from Utah with the title Tenderly Yours, an exploratory study of Malaysian Indian youth online dating through the culture and the pandemic. This is also the Tinder application. Okay, so let's play the video. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Lishali Chandrasekharan from University of Rahman. Today I would like to present my paper entitled Tenderly Yours, an exploratory study of Malaysian Indian youths online dating through the culture and the pandemic. My supervisors are Dr. Sharon and Dr. Harold. The content of my presentation will include introduction, the theoretical framework of the study, the literature review, the methodology, the findings, and last but not least, discussion, conclusion, limitations, and also recommendations. Begin with the introduction. The COVID-19 pandemic has rapidly changed the way people build their relationships and also the way they communicate. According to Matthew et al. 2013, online dating apps have become immensely popular and have gained significant attention from the media over the past few years as this has eased the access and encouraged over 90% of single youths to try online dating applications, whereas 84% of them was hoping to find themselves a relationship. However, Tinder takes the relationship building aspect of communication to the next level by focusing on interacting with various people, where Tinder has actually added some new features, especially during this pandemic time for finding love, whether fleeting or for a lifelong. It has unveiled a new feature such as playful hot takes, including multiple choices of questions to see whether users are actually in sync with the filter banter. However, Tinder is now viewed as one of the most well-known dating applications for iOS and Android with a rate of 49.9% of active users daily, with a rate of 10 million active users daily according to Online Dating Malaysia Statistica. The EU government's 2017 research also reveals that there are 3 in 10, which is equivalent of 29% of Malaysians who have participated in internet and online dating apps, increasing to 1/3, which is equivalent of 33% of millennials. The Star True 2017 also found that there are only 7% of Malaysian youths who believe that Tinder is a very conducive way to meet new people, as almost half of the global average of 12% Malaysian youths actually display a preference for meeting organically in comparison to meeting online. This has proven that the Malaysian society has an increasing acceptance to meet their partners through online dating application, as the EU government 2017 research found that 45% of the respondents actually stated that they wouldn't think twice to meet someone from the online. Tinder, it is initially known as a hookup app. However, today most of them are meeting their spouse or their long-term partner online, as there is a whopping number of Tinder who actually confess, and through this the acquisition of meaningful romantic relationships will be potentially be accomplished. Despite the fact that Tinder is always known for casual sex encounters, Tinder has actually become the top dating site for marriage according to the recent report on the Wedding Knot. It has also been a leading source of relationships and marriages, as they are a tremendous increase in interracial relationships. On to the research objectives of my study. For the first research objective would be to explore the motivations that users seek to obtain from online dating, and the second research objective is to attempt to reveal what preferences does Malaysian Indian youth have in online dating. For the research question would be what role does online dating play in the life of Malaysian Indian youths, and the second research question is actually to what extent does race and preferences play a role in online dating among the Malaysian Indian youths. Moving on to the theoretical framework of the study. This research tries to discuss the self-presentation strategies of online dating app Tinder users using their profiles uploaded to the app using UGNG theory. The UENG theory revolves around the idea that how an individual would look for media in order to meet their needs that actually can lead to ultimate gratification. Therefore, the uses and gratification theory was applied in the study to have a detailed picture of how and why the Malaysian Indian youths are actually using Tinder to have a better understanding of the latent effects of technology, as it would be an appropriate structure to clarify how and why Tinder is used by Malaysian Indian youths. Moving on to the literature review, the first subtopic would be motivations to use Tinder. According to Davey and Cambridge 2016, today youths were more likely to use Tinder to find a long-term commitment relationship or a companionship. However, Sumter, Badenbosch, and Lichtenberg 2017 study revealed that the love motivation was actually stronger than the casual sex motivation. Jessica's 2015 revealed that Tinder users are motivated to search for a long-term relationship, and Wong et al. 2018 research revealed that there are various subcategories of emotional loneliness, social loneliness, family loneliness, such as detachment or an abandonment from family relations, or any kind of romantic sexual loneliness are also one of the factors for them to dive into online dating. Therefore, Tinder should not be viewed solely as a fun hookup app but should be viewed as a new way of emerging adolescents to initiate a long-term committed romantic relationship. Moving on to the next subtopic, which is the Malaysian Indian culture. Indian culture is diverse and marked by a strong social hierarchy. There are various diversity of Indian ethnic or sub-ethnic groups. Ethnicity among the Indian is seen as a breakdown of races such as Malayali, Telugu, Brahmin, and etc. And from a very young age, Indian children are taught their roles and place in society. According to Poonam Tambakar and Mohan 2019 study, revealed that Indian tradition places a strong emphasis on arranged marriage between two adults due to the and also the founders of matrimonial website transformed the Indian matrimony column into a westernized culture. This is because today's Malaysian Indian youth, they actually still sticking to their traditional Indian culture despite the rapid westernization, and still arranged marriages are the norm in Indian culture, and their parents are usually planned by their parents. However, today's Malaysian Indian youth have been an eye-opening to the current generation or the upcoming generations, where the youths are really open to the idea of online dating and beginning to look for their life partner through these online dating applications without getting both families involved. As such, many Indian users are adapting to the westernized culture where they prefer online dating sites would actually help them to initiate their contact with their potential romantic partners, and it would actually help them to get to know their partner. Moving on to the next subtopic, which is the preferences of online dating. When it comes to online dating preferences and racial hierarchies, it may be strongly influenced by various social and cultural factors such as the media, the family and friends, and also the racism. According to Smith and Dugan 2013 study revealed that there is no systematic data about youth preferences for romantic partners who resemble them in variety of ways, for example, such as their ethnic background, their physical attractiveness, their income, their hobbies, their education level, or even their social status. However, Malaysian Indian youth's preferences for romantic partners resemble them in variety of ways, including their ethnic background is also one of the most reliable dating patterns in human, according to Littlebird and Pratt 2016 study. Racial boundaries and hierarchies are still shown to still prevail among the individuals who are actually seeking for a partner via online dating, both in terms of stated preferences. Nonetheless, an increasing positive perception towards interracial romantic relationships are being carried forward in today's generation, where there are a number of people who actually married someone outside their ethnic group has been highlighted in the last 2 decades in Taylor et al. 2012 study. Moving on to the methodology, this study has been conducted within age range of 20 to 35 years old, with consisting of 30 participants who have used Tinder and who are actually using Tinder. And the research instruments, the technique of this data collection is consisting of qualitative methodology consisting of in-depth semi-structured interview with 19 Indian male participants and 11 Indian female participants conversationally with one respondent at a time, and I employed a blend of closed and open-ended questions and accompanied by follow-up of why and how questions to ensure that I have gathered a sufficient information from the Malaysian Indian youths and to produce a quality data. Moving on to the sampling method. The members from the population was selected according to the convenience sampling, also known as availability sampling and snowball sampling, whereby I obtained by going to the public asking participants to participate. For your information, convenience sampling is a specific type of non-probability sampling method that relies on data collection from population members who are conveniently available to participate in study. However, the snowball sampling is a specific type of non-probability sampling method where the community of interest can be found other than by someone who knows that a specific person has the requisite experience or characteristics to be included. In this case, myself as the researcher, I've actually created myself a Tinder profile whereby I've stated that I'm I'm the postgraduate student who's currently doing study on online dating among the Malaysian Indian youths, and I've stated that this profile is for the purpose of interviewing few of you to gather the information about the perspective of online dating. And when I am unable to get enough participants to participate in my study, I've actually asked the person who actually agreed to participate in my study to suggest or to introduce me to someone who have been using Tinder, or previously they have used Tinder, to ensure that I have enough of 30 participants to participate in the study. And then the thematic analysis allow me to fully able to make sense of all the common mutual meanings or experiences and the emerging data concepts in relation to the research questions, as all the interviews were manually transcribed with several key themes and then triangulated to understand the experiences and the desire of Malaysian Indian youth as they navigate their behavioral relationship through the online dating application Tinder. Moving on to the findings of my research. For the research question, what role does online dating play in the life of Malaysian Indian youth? There were 6 motivation themes of online dating usage. For the first one is to meet new people, friends influence, to find potential romantic partners, difficulty in meeting their life partners, recover from the previous breakup, and some also have stated that it was mainly for entertainment and also to have fun. Most of the interview respondents of this study actually expressed their frustration, as most of them were unable to meet their compatible romantic partners offline through the organic routes, and one of the participants also stated that their main reason to get on Tinder was due to their friends' influence, and the benefits of increasing access to the online dating, especially prominent among the Malaysian Indian youths who are actually using Tinder or being in a relationship, has been a trend that this incentive has become even more popular for the of future romantic partners. These initial motivations changed over the course of online dating among the participants of 10 participants from my study, as they have indicated that they first started off to meet people for fun and then they desired for a romantic relationship. These participants stated that their initial goal was to meet some woman or man to see if they were down to have some casual dating or to see how far they would go with them. And some of them also has expanded their social circle and became good friends, whereas some of them eventually met their partner through Tinder and then they got into a serious relationship, and some even got married. Some participants also stated that they actually used Tinder as a post-recovery from a breakup or as a rebound to get rid of the pain, where they have stated that their motive was to have some casual dating in order to forget their past or their breakup as a rebound. And somehow this participant figured that by meeting people in general might help, even though they don't even end up in a relationship or even before hooking up. Their main attention or intention was to get rid of the last bit of hope that they were actually hanging on to, and with that, they only used Tinder application in order to achieve their intention. The majority of the participants are whereby 24 of them have stated that Tinder is a new way of settling down for marriage, as this does not involve their family and actually to get understand their partner even better before proceeding to the next stage. When myself, as a researcher, asked these participants if they are open to getting married to the same woman who have the same mindset, which is to have entertainment or to have fun or to use Tinder as a recover from the previous breakup, majority of them actually stated that they are willing to accept them with an open-minded, as this does not define who they are. This shows that today in Indian community, it is something that everyone is obsessed over, and it is something that very valuable that every Indian women should have, since culture have conditioned us to believe that it is a synonymous with purity or integrity, or which is a proper upbringing by a family. But however, today most of them are open to this idea, and they are even being more broad-minded to accept their partner with the past, and they do live happily together according to the data that I have collected from my study. Moving on to the second research question, which is, to what extent does race and preferences play a role in online dating among the Malaysian Indian youths? As for the swiping preferences, only photos, bio, and interests were gathered as a team. And however, for their race preferences, they were total of 3 teams where they actually open to different ethnic backgrounds consisting of all races, and some they tend to focus within the same ethnic background, which is the Hinduism, and some actually have a certain extent racial preferences. While this study focuses on their preferences, as each user on online dating app has their own preferences when it comes to for their life partner, the most attention-grabbing part of these profiles are usually their photos and their bios stated by my participants, as they believe that it describes a person's personality, and this has proven that a good profile picture will actually capture a user's attention and lead the user to look to the rest of their profile in there, which is their bio, and this would actually make them to swipe right on them on Tinder. And some participants also mentioned that they prefer to see the user's bio and also their interests, as some of us were born with witty comic geniuses, as it grabs the user's attention to make more likely to swipe right on them. This is because the users get a chance to message someone based on their bio or their interests, and they had stated that they would be able to develop a conversation from there. And when it comes to choosing a life partner, they even have their own preferences, where some of them actually are more receptive to dating within the same ethnic background. And this study found that participants total of 8, they exclude Malays, as they have their own racial preferences when they do not indicate a willingness when they selecting for their romantic partners due to the Malaysia's law, where they require to convert and practice Islam teachings at the same time. A total of 13 participants excluded dating regardless of any ethnicity. For instance, one of my participants stated that when they search for a profiles, they are actually open to more individuals from different ethnic backgrounds, because race is just an identity, and they actually prefer on their attitude and their behavior. This is because for them, dating has nothing to do with the race or a religion, as long as both are willing to be open-minded and accept each other's culture. However, as a multicultural nature, they are participants who, where to a certain extent, they believe that they have their own racial preferences when it comes to online dating or when they look for their life partner. Where one of my participants stated that he would definitely think twice if he or she is dating a Malay due to the Malaysian law where we have to convert. And in this case, they would definitely have some kind of preferences, and they would go for other racial preferences. Moving on to the conclusion, limitation, and recommendation. As a conclusion, the users and gratification.
I think I have to stop here. Shakir, please stop the video.
Online dating
I have to stop here because I have to give time for question and answer.
Social networks where it increases.
Shakir, please. Okay, so it's too long. Actually, it is 21 minutes for that particular video. Okay, so for this session, we have 5 presenter, 3 live and 2 video. As a recap, Andy share with us something on sentiment analysis. Sophia and Lishalini with the dating application Tinder. Arandas with Newsframe. and Nurul Huda with the FDA food delivery application. Okay, so it's open to any question and indicate you are referring to which presenter. Okay, it seems that there is no question in the chat box. I believe that you are going to ask directly. Okay, open for question. Any question? Any question? No question. Okay, let me if there is no question, let me ask one question. Okay. For this one is for Sophia, with the dating application. You are using the uncertainty reduction theory, right, in your research? Okay.
Yes.
Why do you think that this URT is more suitable as compared to social penetration theory? Because social penetration theory is also the theory that looking into the interpersonal relationship.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Prof. Purnama, thank you so much for the question. Okay, so basically, because this is for undergraduate project for my student, yeah, I help him with the research. Okay, that's why. Okay, for the theory, actually yes, you say that there's also social penetration theory, but for the undergraduate level, we encourage them to use only one theory, and in fact, for this research. Uncertainty reduction theory is most suitable, yeah, because we try to find out, okay, the relationship between the uncertainty, the strangers, okay, and then how how they communicate and develop relationship on the Tinder application. So basically, I already explained in the framework, the framework, how they use the uncertainty reduction theory by putting all the information, the personal information, yeah, uncertainty to the strangers, and then after that, they that match, then the application itself, okay, match all this information, okay, that help them to link with the person that they want to know online. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you. How about Lishalini? Why do you it seems that you are using the dating application also, the Tinder,
Yeah.
but you are using users and gratification.
Yeah, because why did I choose specifically this theory? It's because I mean, since I'm doing about online dating on Tinder, so I believe that users and gratification theory actually revolves around the idea of how and why an individual actually look in terms of the media to meet their needs, and also where it can lead to an ultimate gratification. So if by applying this theory, I believe that I would be able to have a detailed picture of how and why the Malaysian Indian youths are actually on Tinder, and also to have a better understanding of the latent effects of technology. So
Okay.
that's the purpose I choose this theory.
That is the focus of using users and gratification.
Yeah.
From that UNG perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Is there any other question from the participants?
Can I ask some questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Lishalini.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Siti. Long time no see.
Hi, Dr. Rama. Okay. My questions basically, I'm interested in looking, because you are using users and gratification, the gratification sort. Yeah. What are the findings that you get from the gratification sort?
Okay, so when I actually, after done with the interview sessions and all, when I look into the teams that I've gathered, there's a total number of 6 teams, as I mentioned in my research question one, where some of them actually mentioned their frustration that they are unable to meet their life partners, and also by going on Tinder, at some point they've actually meet their needs, and also they were able to satisfy themselves in terms of, if let's say one of the participants stated that his main his main intention to go on Tinder is actually to recover from his previous breakup. So after that, when he went into an online dating, which is Tinder, he was able to get rid of the pain that he had, and also by which he actually looked in terms of a rebound. And then slowly, when he started off with as a hookup thing, but eventually he fell in love with the girl that he met. So at some point, he was able to achieve his main intention, and also to meet the needs, where the first intention was to move on from the previous breakup, and also he eventually fell in love, which means he found his new life partner. So with this kind of data, like it's actually, I can see that most of my respondents, they have actually met their needs by going on Tinder.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Lisha, and thank you, Dr. Siti. Any other question? Any other question? No question. Okay, so if there is no question, let us give a big applause to all the presenters and also the participant in this session. Okay, so thank you very much. We will end up our session now, and over to you, Amalina. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Norma. Okay, thank you, Dr. Norma. With that, we end our parallel session this afternoon. Hope to see you again in the next mentioned conference, inshallah. Okay, now smile, and our technical person in charge will capture our picture. Okay, Shakir.
Please open your camera.
Make sure everybody is ready, and then snap.
I will give 30 seconds for everyone to open your camera.
All right. Ready?
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. See you in next session.
Okay, thank you. Our presenters can leave breakout room.
Thank you, Dr. Norma. All the best, everyone.
Breakout room and join at the breakout room, or let's turn to main session. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, Dr. Norma. Lama tak jumpa
Lama tak jumpa.
Tu lah. Okay.